Today's latest Apple news. New details on iOS 18, Apple's next major firmware release. We have new pictures of an alleged leaked iPhone 16 phone case, rumors around a foldable iPhone, Apple's annual WWDC, and more. Now, starting with WWDC, earlier this week, Apple announced that their annual event, which is used to showcase their latest operating systems, will be held on June 10th to June 14th, with the keynote portion of the event scheduled for June 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Again, it's expected that the Cupertino company will unveil iOS 18 along with its counterparts iPadOS 18, macOS 15, tvOS 18, watchOS 11, and hopefully visionOS 2, marking the first major firmware bump to Apple's new VR headset. Now, as far as iOS 18 goes, we expect AI to play a huge role across the operating system at a fundamental level. Such features may include auto-generated Apple Music playlists, AI-assisted writing across various apps such as Pages, AI-assisted keynote creation, massive improvements to Spotlight search, possible AI code writing for developers in Xcode, new and better synchronicity between Siri and the Messages app, allowing for more natural responses, as well as deep shortcut integration to automate more complex or multi-step tasks with voice commands, and finally, actual tangible improvements to everyone's least favorite virtual assistant, being, of course, Siri. Yep, the dreaded Siri is hopefully finally getting a reboot. I honestly can't believe that Siri went from being one of the only options for voice assistants and really feeling like the future when it rolled out alongside the iPhone 4S to literally being the bane of my existence on a near daily basis. Like, it's so bad that, I just completely stopped using Siri myself, and I know a lot of people who are in the same boat, and we've all been waiting a very long time for this. Now, iOS 18 will also feature a more customizable home screen, quote unquote, according to Mark Gurman. So basically what Android has had for years, but we're being told that iOS 18 will feature more customization options beyond just icon rearrangement as part of the biggest iOS revamp in years, which I'm definitely excited for. The whole design in general is really starting to feel dated, considering the last major overhaul was with iOS 7. Now, back in November, Apple announced that they would finally support the cross-platform messaging standard known as RCS, quote, later in 2024. And according to a new report today out of 9 to 5 Google, the Google Messages webpage may have just confirmed that, quote, later actually means fall of 2024, which I'm sure most of us could have guessed. So basically, the official Google Messages page now reads, quote, Apple has announced it will be adopting RCS in the fall of 2024. And for those of you who don't know, RCS will allow for audio messages, typing indicators, read receipts, improved group chats, Wi-Fi messaging, and higher resolution photos and videos between Android and iPhones. So basically bringing what we've had on iMessage for years to green bubbled Android users without actually opening up iMessage and allowing iMessage to be installed on Android phones, which, that's debatable, but I think that just allowing the service on Android would really go a long way. I mean, Apple has their walled garden ecosystem. I completely get it. Everything plays nicely with each other, but it would just be so sweet to have green bubbles replaced by blue bubbles on Android once and for all. Now, as for the rest of WWDC, we're currently unaware if any new products will be announced at the event, so there aren't any rumors suggesting so, but be sure to subscribe to stay in the loop. I'll keep you guys updated. Now, moving on to the iPhone 16, a new image of what is allegedly cases for Apple's next generation smartphones has surfaced. Now, the main change that immediately jumps out is a vertical camera array cutout, which might mean that Apple's spatial video recording feature, which was first found in the iPhone 15 Pro models, will make its way to the next generation base iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus. Now we can also see that the case features an additional button, likely an action button, which was also first found on the iPhone 15 Pro models. Now there's a lot of time between now and September, so like with WWDC, just be sure to stay tuned for more coverage. Now the iPhone 16 Pro models may actually utilize an all-new polished titanium finish, according to a news aggregator account YEUX1122. Now the new process would add polished side rails to the iPhone 16 Pro's titanium chassis, which would make it more reminiscent of the iPhone 14 Pro models, which did in fact have polished edges, albeit just not titanium. So instead of the brushed titanium that we currently have on the latest iPhone Pro models, Apple may go back to that kind of glossy or polished finish that they went away from with the iPhone 14 Pro models. So just seems like they're kicking it back and forth. Now, lastly, today, I wanted to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart: foldable iPhones. Ever since the first Samsung Galaxy Fold, I personally have been captivated with folding phones and have loved the idea of an iPhone Pro Max model that would just unfold to the size of an iPad mini. Well, according to a new report out of Digitimes, Apple executives have once again adjusted the schedule for foldable iPhones from the fourth quarter of, get this, 2026 to the first quarter of 2027, which itself does seem kind of weird considering Apple doesn't really do first quarter iPhone launches. But considering this could be a completely new product category for Apple, they might break away from tradition. And also it would definitely help to stir up some hype, especially if they announced it several months before it was actually ready for release, which I'm sure they probably would do. But unfortunately, though, the report did say that both foldable iPhone prototypes will fold more like an old school flip phone, similar to the Galaxy Flip instead of like the Galaxy Fold. So I guess my dreams of a pocketable iPhone to iPad device will also be delayed several years even beyond that. Other reports, however, are suggesting that Apple could launch a 7 to 8 inch device that could replace the iPad mini, so I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. We know Apple's prototypes are struggling and they won't release any hardware until they deem it polished enough to do so, just like they did with the Vision Pro. So all this to say, don't get your hopes up, as it may never come, or it will just come, several years late. So we'll see. Personally, though, like I said, I absolutely love the folding phone models, and I would be ecstatic if Apple could do a folding iPhone. Let me know what you think about that down below in the comments section. I know at least on a lot of Apple blogs, folding phones get a lot of flack, but I think they're fantastic. So that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys liked it, and I also want to know down below in the comments section if you did, if you have any suggestions for improvements, if you want to see any other video coverage, just let me know down there. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.